Jaya Rama Rama Kunjabihari Jaya Rama Rama Kunjabihari Gopi Jana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Manachari Yamuna Tira Manachari Shrimad's divine grace, founder of Iskana Bhai, Charanadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam ki, their most merciful Lordship Shri Shri Bihari ki, Shri Jagannath Shri Baladev Maya Subhadra ki, Shri Nataji Shri Balagopal ki, Shri Varnitai ki, Nitai Go Premanand. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the Lord and Spirit of Shri Guru Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tojayamudire Nastaprayashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistiki. Reading from Shrimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 11, Text 11.
1111.
111111.
Today's date also 1.
Oh, 111.
Yeah, today is the first.
Month also 1.
Wow.
That's 111111.
Sustained coincidence. Wow.
Okay. Oh, Madhu. Boja, Dasarata, Dasar. Madhu Boja Dasarha, Kukurandaka, Rishnibi, Kukurandaka, Rishnibi, Atma, Tulya, Baler, Guptam, Atma Tulya Baler Guptam, Nager, Bhogavatim, Eva, Nager Bhogavatim Eva, Madhu Boja Dasarhartha, Madhu Boja Dasarharha, Kukurandakas Vishnibhi, Kukurandaka Vishnibhi, Atmatulya Baler Guptam, Atmatulya Baler Guptam, Nager Bhogavatim Niva, Nager Bhogavatim Niva,
Madhu Boja Dasaharha,
Madhu Boja Dasarharha, Kurukandaka Vishnivi, Atmatulya Baler Guptam, Nager Bhogavatim Niva, Madhu Boja Dasarharha, Kukurandaka Vishnibi, Atmatulya Baler Guptam, Nager Bhogavatim Niva,
Madhu Boja Darshan Harba,
Madhu Boja Dasarharha,
Kukuran Haka Vrishibhi,
Kukurandaka Vishnibi,
Atmatulya Balir Gutam,
Atmatulya Baler Guptam,
Nagir Bhogavatim Eva,
Nager Bhogavatim Eva, Madhu Boja Dasarha Arha Kukura Oh sorry Kukura It's Kukura Andaka
Andhaka,
Vishnavi, by the descendants of Vrishni, Atmatulya, as good as himself, Balai, by strength, Guptam, protected, Nagai, by the Nagas, Bhogavatim,
Bhagavatam,
the capital of Nagaloka,
the capital of Nagaloka,
Eva, like. Madhubojadasarhara, Ukurandaka Vrishnibi, Atmatulya Baler Guptam Nagir Bhagavatim Eva. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. As Bhagavati, the capital of Nagaloka, is protected by the Nagas, so was Dwarka protected by the descendants of Vrishni, Bhoja, Madhu, Dasar, Kura, Anda, etc., who were as strong as Lord Krishna. Krishna. Please repeat. As Bhagavati, the capital of Nagaloka, is protected by the Nagas. So was Dwarka, protected by the descendants of Vrishni, Bhoja, Madhu, Darsha, Arha, Kukura, Andaka, etc., who were as strong as Lord Krishna. As Bhagavati, the capital of Nagaloka, is protected by the Nagas, so was Dwarka protected by the descendants of Vrishni, Bhoja, Madhu, Dasar, Ara, Kukura, Andaka, etc., who were as strong as Lord Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Nagaloka planet is situated below the earth planet, and it is understood that the sun rays are hampered there. The darkness of the planet is, however, removed by the flashes of the jewels set on the heads of the Nagas, or celestial serpents. And it is said that there are beautiful gardens, rivulets, etc., for the enjoyment of the Nagas. It is understood here also that the place is well protected by the inhabitants. So also the city of Dwarka was well protected by the descendants of Vrishni, who were as powerful as the Lord, insofar as He manifested His strength upon this earth. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshusun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Here we are again seeing the fact that Krishna gives as what you might call a reward to those who are His servants, bodies that are equal to His. But of course, the distinction is being made here, as strong as He was manifesting His body to be on this planet, because they didn't have universes coming from their bodies. So, this distinct quality of Krishna, His strength, is one only aspect of His personality. I was reading in 8th Canto yesterday. But see, now, with us being so over-flooded with diseases, in my prayers to Krishna to understand my own, body and understanding how to keep myself healthy, I had pursued the desire to want to know if there was a means of putting together the recipe to make somaras.
Okay.
So when we'd find in Canto 9 the description of how somaras is made, the demigods and the demons, they declared a truce in order to be able to create this somaras. Now, the somaras is that nectar that is still to this day being served in the heavenly planets, which are above our planet. And this was churned for the future living entities to be able to take from this nectar, to be able to gain the long life that they have in these heavenly planets. But there's no way we're going to be able to turn this Omeros on this planet. The demigods, in their truce with one another, agreed that using Vasuki, a huge serpent, wrapped around Mandar Hill, which is a mountain of gold. And from the descriptions given in Bhagavatam of how one would be situated on the surface of that causal ocean, before being able to gain entrance to the dwelling of Mahavishnu, who is lying on a couch, which is Sheshanag, the body of Sheshanag. There are like 9 islands to get there, each one a donut surrounding, circumambulating. If you walked on each of these islands in a circumambulating way, you would be circumambulating Lord Vishnu. There is an ocean of mango juice that flows there, which are made by the trees circumambulating or surrounding that island, that first island. I'm not sure if this is Jambudweep, but the mangoes that fall from that tree are described as being the size of elephants. Okay. However, when I say elephant now in this age, we're thinking of an elephant as being maybe 7, 8 foot tall, like that. But at the time this was spoken of, when there are men 50 feet tall, and if elephants remain the same relationship to human beings in that age, so we're talking about mangoes that are size of maybe 100-foot elephant, what would that be? Elephants are normally about twice the size of a human being, aren't they, normally? Approximately? So if a human being is 50 feet tall, those elephants are huge. 100-foot tall elephant. Now, we're talking about 5 stories, even more than 5 stories. Right, and that's the size of a mango. This gives us an idea. Mango trees are for human beings, aren't they? What size of the human being is going to be on this surface that are taking these forms of mangoes as fruit to be eaten in a city? What size of human beings are there on this inner surface of the universe? And see, that's why I am promoting the idea that we should get out these telescopes and start looking. There are things to be seen in the universe that are only going to be able to be seen by those whose eyes have been opened by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it is knowledge of these very existences that enable us to have our eyes open. So, from the mango juice that when these mangoes fall, if you can imagine what a mango the size of one of our regular elephants would fall like, and would, when it hits the ground, but it'll make a big boom, right? And just, you don't want to get under that mango when it's falling. But just imagine the size of the mango it would be if it is in relationship to, the description being given and the living entities there. Wow, these are huge mangoes. And then they form an ocean. But that mango nectar is made of such a substance that its drying and hardening creates gold. So, it's a completely different kind of mango than what we know of, right? But the throne, there is a throne being seated on, described as pure gold, that Bhaktivinoda sees Lord Chaitanya seated on. And I have strong suspicion, because Lord Brahma had access to that shore, which none of the other demigods could even gain the access of. We're gaining knowledge to even be able to talk about these things. Just in future and previous generations was not even conceivable. This knowledge was reserved. This knowledge was reserved for a very select few that were allowed to serve in the temple. I mean, in some respects, you can say that's true now. But anybody who wants to take up these teachings now has full access, gain the access through the internet. Type in Vedabase.com. Now, why I am suggesting Vedabase, because if you take any other version of Bhagavatam being presented to the world, we do not know what ulterior motives are being utilized when these people who are taking donations for these things are using this as a profession. And Srila Prabhupada makes great distinction between preachers who are using spiritual truths to support themselves as a profession versus those who are living the life required in order to be able to gain access with the Supreme Person and person-to-person communion with the Supreme Person. And that's what these literatures are making available to us through the process of initiation. Let's see, what we're seeing, what the human race also needs presently is the knowledge of spiritual evolution and the need for all of humankind's interaction with the Supreme Lord to be put into a form of record. And this is what God has done and allowed to happen through the centuries and the histories of the civilizations that have been allowed to prosper on the earth. Their records being evidence of their interaction also shows the progressive evolution that human beings are meant to gradually progress to as a whole. We have so much time allotted to us in this one lifespan that can only give us a certain amount of progress. Right? Krishna is speeding things up in a way for us to be able to gain great benefit by this. But unless Krishna does open our eyes, we will take these things to be like every other religion has taken it, for a way to come on Sunday and justify all the acts that we're doing to make ourselves prosperous and happy in this life without having any real true connection to God and what God is expecting of us, or God wants of us, for us to be able to experience His kind of happiness, to experience His consciousness. Dave and I were sharing association yesterday, and I was sharing how in discussing these various aspects of Krishna consciousness and the results that people have gotten in the past from their endeavors, reveals to us abilities that we have as latent, but they're laying dormant. And I asked Krishna about this because, we want to be able to use these physical bodies to the greatest extent possible to be able to spread Krishna consciousness to the greatest extent possible.
Yes.
So, one ability is described as becoming larger than the largest And another one is described opposite of that as becoming smaller than the smallest. In conversations that I carry on with Krishna in japa, while I am chanting japa, I'm receiving in my conscious mind realizations in the form of conceptualizations pertaining to the questions that I'm asking about. And so this idea of becoming greater than the, bigger than the biggest, smaller than the smallest. When we look at the universe, we see that all the living entities dwelling within the universe are having as a place to dwell, that place according to that relationship or that closeness they have developed with the Supreme Person. So like we are being shown about the Nagas, some of the demonic civilizations that have been around since time immemorial, when Lord Brahma was first bringing out living entities coming into the universe, many of them were demons. And many of them having the desire to live separate from God without the belief of God. I mean, Krishna himself makes a separate place for them to never remember him at all. That's what they want. That's their desire. So they get, according to their desires, that position in this universe. And similarly, we are situated here according to that relationship. But now in our minds, which is consciousness, our minds are using the fact that we are conscious to be able to create and conceive as conceptualizations that, and create experiences that we have through the realizations given to us through Bhagavatam of the size of the universe, where the universe is, where we are located in relationship to that. And in the creation of these conceptualizations is the ability to make these conceptualizations any size we want them to be. Isn't it? Now, when I say that, then closing your eyes and just picturing in your mind the sun. Okay, you can look at the sun with your eyes closed now and just picture the sun. You can make that sun any size you want it to be. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So, when you do that with Krishna, when you look at Krishna in that way, also, he is every size you can think of. He is bigger than the biggest. He is smaller than the smallest. So the same principle that has been applying to all living entities that come into the universe, and their relation with Krishna puts them in that position in the universe with Krishna. The same conceptualizations are used by those living entities that Krishna empowers to use that function by their conceptualization of him. We either are looking at him as the greatest, the biggest of the biggest, or you can also see him inhabiting every atom.
Right.
As the smallest of the smallest. Now, consider this. If we're dwelling on that inner surface of the universe, just like here, what does it say about the guards? It says they were given the same kind of body that Krishna had, isn't it? Those living entities that are dwelling on that inner surface of the universe, in order to be in a relationship there with Krishna, just like Krishna has taken this form for us to be able to relate to him as, about the size of our bodies, right? The living entities there have forms that are relative to him, similarly, same way. And some of them are demons. And that's why A lot of the things that are going on in this world we don't know are being caused by living entities. One soul in that dwelling area has the ability to upset weather cycles in planetary systems. And that's what Bhagavatam is making us aware of. And so when we leave our bodies also, these things will just automatically manifest by Krishna's presence. We become our normal selves, our eternal self in relationship to him then. But that time will come when he chooses. But see, it is amazing when you think about it that these living entities that have displayed these abilities are doing so simply by their consciousness and their own perception of who Krishna is in relationship to them, right? And so this is what true meditation is. Thinking about our relationship with Krishna. And then Krishna is giving us the ability to receive, even though we don't speak Sanskrit, right? This is like Krishna's normal language to communicate with living entities, but by conceptualization. This is like the early stages of communication that human beings had with one another was by drawing pictures, right? Similarly, with Krishna, we are gaining initial communication with Krishna to conceptualizations created in our minds. This is how Krishna is communicating with humanity in this particular time, because we're separate from him. And that separation makes us long for him more, and that experience is what's going to bring us to him at the end of this life. And as long as we're developing the desire to perfect our functions in this world, it is that same energy that's going to carry us into that loving relationship when we leave here, because it will be manifest in more gross, not meaning that it will just be manifest so that we can see obviously, right? Will be made fully obvious to us. Krishna is the person of Krishna, the substance of Krishna's being, of his body. Be able to see that eternal substance that Krishna is, that we are also. We are that same substance that Krishna's body is. Yeah. Today being the first day of the year, we are saying, might give us reason to ponder. See, if the evolution, the spiritual evolution of humanity was something that was meant to have been carried on from the beginning, it would have done so by person to person to person. And this is how Parampara is very unique in that detail, and why these stories are very unique to us, because we can take all the evolution, spiritual, gradual evolution of all of the existence of the universe and witness it through the reading and study of Shrimadbhagavatam, and then gain the value of that relationship now Krishna wants to have with us for all the evolution of the qualities mankind is supposed to have developed up until this point to manifest in us as human beings. So, but it won't be something that we can be proud of or something that we can say we've done of our own. It's simply a willingness that we have shown Krishna, Krishna, I want to let you manifest in me. I don't want my own way. I want your way to be manifest in my life. So then we engage ourselves in activities we wouldn't have engaged. This class is not something I created. I didn't come here and give a resume so that I didn't look like that, right? And just the same way the engagements you and I and all of us are engaging in They've been set up before we came. They've been set up since the foundation of the world. And we are taking this great privilege now to engage in these activities so that our consciousness can be of the transcendental nature that spiritual evolution was meant for mankind to experience. And see, if we as human beings continue wiping out the historical evidences of God's presence in other communities, we miss out ourselves on the value and that knowledge gained by those civilizations. And you can see by study of all different cultures of the world that every civilization is manifesting different ways that God gave them individually. All the bouquets in God's presence are not of the same flower. So all the souls that are manifesting, which are unlimited, are each and every one of an individual nature and have within them uniquely an individual relationship with the Supreme Person. And that is what brings them where they are, where we are, where we're going, how we got here. Everything is concluded in that relationship. So as we continue through the day, in our minds remembering Krishna, thinking about Krishna, we can remember that energy that we're using to think about Krishna with that's the bhakti. That's bhakti. And that's going to be the force that automatically causes us to fall into Krishna's arms after we leave these bodies, and be able to embrace Krishna. You imagine embracing Krishna? Lord Chaitanya would embrace souls who first came into the temple, who were chanting the holy name. Because they were chanting, he would offer respectful obeisances himself because they were chanting the holy names of Krishna. How is he going to think about us if we're taking this seriously every day, chanting 16 rounds every day, reading the books every day, spending an hour in every book every day? How close is that going to bring us to him then? Because we bring him remembrance of the fact that we are continuing that which he established from the foundation of the world. Krishna knew the Dharma for every age that was going to come into existence from the foundation of the universe, even being manifested out of his body. He knew all these principles, everything. It's not the first time it's manifested. This endless in and out of the universe is inhaled and exhaled by Krishna. There is no beginning of that. There is no end of that. And so then it's just amazing thing to even think about, But the more we do fill our minds with thoughts about this, the more the experience of reality takes hold of our lives, and the more this experience of living in consciousness and having such consciousness filled with such truths that are worthwhile to meditate upon. It's like we take every verse, every verse in this Bhagavatam is so detailed in valuable quality, revealing characteristics about God that we could go on endlessly. And that's what Sheshanag is doing. He's endlessly glorifying Krishna, describing aspects of Krishna's personality, and has not had to repeat himself in all of eternity. This is the nature of Krishna's being. And so, this is why it's so important. These lawmakers, somehow, we've got to push forth this movement to the extent that people can realize what it is for the value of what it has to offer humankind. Because those that are not getting it are missing the greatest valuable gift this human form of life has to offer, this truth of Bhagavatam. The Brahmins make truth their treasure because it is the most rewarding of experiences that the mind is able to have. It's the complete fulfillment of the knowledge of the presence of the Supreme, who has in mind the well-being of all living entities. All living entities. And so when we see calamities happening, we take to heart, well, if God has in mind for all living entities to benefit, how is it that all these calamities are going on? It is by the formulation of these thoughts that we are constantly involving ourselves with that cause us our problems. And so in the same way, it is the chanting of the holy names and the learning, the controlling of the mind, the use of the mind to develop concepts and ideas that are revealed to us as solid truths that we can put the foundation of our faith in, and the strength of our love, the aim of our love towards. Yeah. And in that way, Krishna becomes happy to see that something that he spoke millions of years ago is still being followed today. And we are a remembrance to him of that when we chant. So see how we remind Krishna of things that are pleasing to him, and this pleases Krishna. And that's the aim of human life that I found, is to please God. If we can please God, and whatever strength we find that we can use to do that with, Krishna is revealing that he's pleased by whatever we do make. It may not be in perfection at first, but that's what spiritual evolution is all about, getting better and better and better at what we do. This is what's missing with people that think of life for purposes other than that which we are created for. You know, like Disneyland, movies, and cinemas, and reading newspapers, and all this other nonsense stuff. That newspaper that's being read, the obituaries, the accidents, the turmoil, the wars, it's all repetition of what's been going on since time immemorial. Man has been fighting against himself, man has been dying, man has been suffering pain, man has been experiencing disease, and all this because of his absence and turning away from the supreme source of all life, the supreme source of love, the supreme source of goodness, the supreme source of happiness, the supreme source of pleasure, the supreme source of everything good that there is for us to know. Krishna. 2 syllables. 2 syllables says it all. It's all contained in these 2 syllables, in the person that these 2 syllables describe, Krishna, the all-attractive, all-powerful, all-knowing, all-loving Krishna, all-famous, all-strong. We have everything to look forward to. The promise of God, the promises of God are the most endearing promises anyone is making. Krishna is promising to us to get us out of this bondage of birth, death, old age, and disease, and deliver us into that eternal realm where demons are only rumors. Okay. And there is no such thing as disease. There is no such thing as death. Can you imagine? It doesn't even exist in a concept, death. It's not there. There's no concept of dying. I can't imagine that. All we've been faced with since our birth. In the same building we were born in, people were dying at the same time we were being born. The same building. Yeah. Most of it. Right. We weren't born at home. We were born in a hospital. That's what's going on. One's coming in, one's leaving. Krishna. So we got to leave in a happy state of mind. We got to leave looking forward to being united once again with that eternal source. Krishna is of all light, all love, all strength, all beauty, all magnificence. Anything in your mind that you can conceive of that is glorious and wondrous, that is Krishna. That is Krishna. And your mind can't make up things that do not exist as well. So, of course, all those very disastrous calamities also. Krishna is the source of everything. But when you're serving Krishna, even disasters and calamities work for the good, to teach you and to make you stronger. What's the saying? Whatever doesn't kill me makes me stronger.
Right.
So the fact that you're alive now means you've overcome everything that has tried to stop you to this point. Isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's been times that you've been close to it, probably.
Yeah.
I know there's been plenty of times I've been close to leaving this body. And all for us to be made aware. We're just this far away from eternity. Just that far away at any moment. Once the heart stops, gone. Where we're going. Gotta set that aim, that rudder. And that one's the rudder. Whatever comes out of this thing is what's going to guide us to which direction we go. So we gotta controlling the mind gives control over the tongue. Once the mind and the tongue are controlled, the whole body's senses are controlled. Anybody have any questions, any comments, any realizations about 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1? We won one today. We won one. See, knowing Krishna, the lottery probably in most people's minds, especially if you see more than 6 figures, boy, in most people's minds, that's the greatest thing they could ever achieve in life. Isn't it? Most people set that as, well, if I ever won that, boy, that would be it. That would be the greatest thing in the world. Isn't it? Lottery. But what do we have when we come to surrender to God? To have God as your personal friend? If we can know the value of that and the fact that that can be developed at any stage in our lives. We may have committed the greatest crime. Once the soul determines once and for all, I'm going to give up my sinful living. I'm going to turn my head towards God. I'm going to turn my aim towards God. I'm going to turn my life towards God. I'm going to do everything I can to please God.
Surrender?
Yeah, surrender.
Oh, wait. Oh, wait.
You asked me yesterday. What is greater than devotion?
Oh, wait.
He says surrender.
Oh, wait.
But devotion is included in surrender, right? Surrender, the act of surrender, is also a form of devotion.
Okay.
So they go hand in hand.
Okay.
But you're not going to be able to advance devotionally if you don't surrender. Because otherwise, your devotional activities without surrender are mental speculation and also sympathetic, being empathetic towards things that are of a human nature, but not understanding the true nature of God.
Symbiosis.
Without surrendering to God, we're not going to know God's character. We're not going to know God's personality. And so, we're on one side or the other. We're either on the side of right or we're on the side of wrong. We got to find out what that is in order to surrender to the right cause, the right principle, the right person. The original person, the all-knowing person, the all-powerful person. And that's what's missing in all these translations of Bhagavatam, even Mahabharata. If the author has intended to promote a concept of God that is not actually God, And that's what is promoted by the idea that Krishna is only a power. He's only an impersonal energy. And that's what's being promoted for the most part by most presentations of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. And so you're not going to be able to do that with Chaitanya Charitamrita. Can't do that with Charitamrita.
Right.
Because he is the embodiment of personal form of God beyond what any other incarnation is even manifest. Even Krishna himself personally, when you analyze, Chaitanya is Radharani and Krishna. And we're only 500 years away from him having come. Yeah. See, if we had lived in time of Christ, we wouldn't even have been as close to an incarnation of Krishna as we are now. The most potent incarnation of Krishna in the form of Lord Chaitanya. The most merciful. He didn't cut heads off. Even though he had the urge to do so revealed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nityananda, stopped him. Who was the one who was the offense committed against? See, and this actually reveals as well the laws of Krishna. If you want to commit an offense against a devotee, you have to go to that devotee to find the forgiveness. And it was the devotee, it was Lord Nityananda, in the form of a devotee, that revealed the effects of mercy. Just think about that. See how his mercy towards that soul protected that soul from the punishment of Krishna's own chakra. So Lord Chaitanya, being non-different from Krishna, he was ready to cut Jagai's head off, and would have, if not had been for the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And see, this is the relationship we take to people on behalf of Krishna. We're taking the place Lord Nityananda was taking for the benefit of Jagai. And so this is the same way we're going out and preaching on behalf of Lord Chaitanya, which puts us now in the place of that mercy that Lord Nityananda was revealing. See how that makes Krishna feel towards us when we take the position of wanting to represent him. Then we become very dear to him, and he wants to protect us. We need to be protected to continue speaking his words of glory to God. Anybody have any questions, any comments? I'll glory to your service, brothers. Have the most wonderful, glorious day of your experience of life. And may everyone, every day hereafter, be more glorious than the one before. Jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.